Right. So we are doing the course on construction planning and management. Construction, you plan the construction, and all the construction work which we typically see are a project because they have a fixed start and a fixed ending time. It has a fixed budget. It has a fixed what I call as a scope. Scope is a word. So what is to be done, how much is to be done, and all the other such things come under scope. Okay. Moving on. So today we are on the actually lecture 4. What we are managing. So this is lecture 4 is what we did yesterday. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I think lecture 5. I should probably change it to lecture 5. So we are. This is what we saw. We saw that there's a need for proper communication between the stakeholders of a project. Stakeholders are people who have a valid interest in the project. People who have a valid interest in the project are stakeholders. And we also saw some things are being planned. Resources are planned essentially. And that was the biggest thing which we saw in particular. Okay. So moving on, we were looking at smart cities as the case study. And this was something we saw. We saw that projects are made of components. A group of components form an assembly. They have materials. There's a methodology. And there is specification which ties all of them together. Specification ties all of these together. What do I mean by specification? It's a document communicating the intent. It's a set of drawings. It's a set of requirements for the material. It's a set of finish criteria. It's all of these come under specification. So this is a technical aspect. There's also commercial aspect, which is the money. We spoke about when money is to come into the project, when payment is to be done. When a billing is done, we say that a project is, money has come into the hands of the contractor, or some money is being spent by the owner. So let's see what is this project planning. So this is the triple constraint. Cost increases when time reduces. I think you understood that principle. More material come in, so the instant cost goes up, right? So things like taking a loan where you make a repayment schedule versus stretching out the project, both of them have a cost. So you need to understand what would be the implication of both of these methods of funding the project. Okay. Second thing is quality. Higher the quality, cost automatically goes up. Higher the quality, time also automatically goes up. Time is not the same. Time is not the same when you are going to keep a particular quality. So for example, if you want to get a high quality plastering, you might be plastering, then sandpapering it, and then applying some putty, and then again sandpapering it, again applying some putty, and then you go for the paint. A high quality finish cannot be got very quickly. So time will also vary. Again, if the quality is more, what will happen to the cost? The cost will also go up. So this is the triple constraint. They are interrelated. If you try to remove one, project will not be there. If I remove time, the project is not going to finish at all. If I remove cost, project doesn't come free, project doesn't come with unlimited credit also. So you will find that all of these things are interrelated. If you play with quality, the owner may even reject the work which you have given. So a lot of things go into this project, and this triple constraint is something which is very important. I will introduce BIM to you. BIM is not Revit, it's not a software. BIM is a working style. Okay, so it helps in planning, helps during the construction stage. It also helps in the O&M or operations and maintenance stage. O&M stands for operations and maintenance. So in all of these phases, this style of working helps. Okay, BIM is a style of working. Agreed protocols are established, so communication is clear. The way the work is done is also mentioned, typically around a 3D model. So that's why we need a 3D software. And many times people feel Revit is BIM, but that's a misconception. So what is a plan? This is a very important thing in project management. It's a detailed formulation of how something is going to be done. What are the methods you're going to adopt? See, for example, you want to present a report. You can handwrite the report. You can type out the report to the manual typewriter. You can use a computer. Inside the computer, it can be MS Word. It can be so many of the different word processors which are available nowadays. So how you are going to do it is a very important thing. So when you plan taking into account the triple constraint. What is the triple constraint? Cost, quality, and time. When I am talking about the triple constraint, this triple constraint is established because of the scope of work. It is established because of the scope of work. Okay, 100 kilometers of railway track. If you put 95 kilometers of railway track or 99.5, is it sufficient? Are 0.5% only I didn't finish in scope of work. Will people accept it? You suppose that half kilometers in the railway station, let's say Central Railway Station in Chennai, I won't do only the half kilometer. From here to other end I've done. Will you accept that work? So this is what is the very important thing. So scope of work governs a lot of things. Okay. So in a nutshell, a plan should answer all the question statements. Who is going to do the work? Okay, which contractor is doing? What is going to be done? Railway track, pipeline, hostel building, residential building, office. And then when is it to be done? You can't do it whenever you like. For example, in VIT, trucks are not permitted during the academic hours inside the campus. Either the contractor has to make a special entry. For example, you go down near the ladies' hostel, you find that the wall was broken down and a new gate was made so that the site office could be established. Right? So now what is the advantage? The contractor can come and go at any time. So that was not a problem. So that was way by which they managed to overcome a problem. So when it's going to be done, it's a very important thing. One more thing. The new level crossing was done. When that was done, railways blocked traffic for 1 day. In fact, it was not even one full day. So what are the works you have to do? You have to remove the electrification, that traction overhead line. You have to bring the temporary girder. A temporary girder was put in. So the temporary girder is put in. Railway line has to be aligned. Electric wires have to be put in. So everything is done by different contractors. But one person is orchestrating the whole thing. Like A.R. Rahman, conducting so many instruments, singers and other things, it was happening. So when something is going to be done is very important. How? Is a crane going to lift it? Or are you going to use Egyptian style? Lift the girder up, 100 people, 200 people, put it in place. All of this we need to work out. And then everything comes at a cost. How much we have to pay for getting that work done. So this is planned. If I do everything but I don't have money, do you think it's going to happen? So this is why planning is very important. If you don't plan for a job, you are planning to fail. Okay. So these are the stages of planning we talked about. Today I want to finish initiating and planning. Execution, monitoring go hand in hand. When execution comes, controls are going to be set up. Okay, and closing is also another thing which is very closely linked to the last three stages. So today when we are talking about project planning, our syllabus calls for project planning. I'm going to talk about how the project is initialized, how the project is planned for. Okay, so we talked about another thing. We talked about feed. Feed is front-end engineering design. Just remember the term which we told earlier. So we want all projects to be smart. What is smart? What do you think smart is? Sorry? Huh? Information and communication should be made available very quickly so that decisions can be made, informed decisions can be made. Okay. So today is the day when our Prime Minister is able to see how government office attendance is. There's supposed to be a graph which is going to say how many people are reporting at what time, how many are late, so on and so forth. Because biometrics are getting linked. So, as you told, data is key today. So here, whenever we talk about something which is smart, for example, AC is smart. Why? It takes general information, takes a decision and controls the temperature of the room. Lighting is smart. It senses whether people are in the room and then uses the lighting. So this is something which we talk about smart. Now, there is an acronym for SMART. SMART is specific. It's very specific. The project is very specific. It is measurable. How many meter cube of concrete was cast? How many track kilometers were slayed? Okay. How much of pipeline was done? Is the pipeline delivering the required quantity of water? If we talk about a drainage structure, is the drain ensuring that the city is dry? It's measurable. Okay. How much of fluid was carried by the drain? Today, garbage trucks are measured by how much garbage is getting collected by each truck. So on and so forth. So you can do a lot of measurement for every project, right? Again, it should be attainable. I come and tell you, I want you to know everything of projects, right? Now, everything becomes a vague term. So it should be attainable. Okay. Then it should be also realistic. I want you to build a house which is having 1 meter space between the ground and, or I want to walk in. I want to park my car. I don't want columns in that place at all. It may not be very realistic. So you have to have a realistic project. Again, I want to link rivers. You know, India is having a slope. Is it going to be economical to connect from south to north? So it should be a realistic plan, right? Again, it's time related. So you should know when something is to be done. What is the upper bound? What is the lower bound? Okay, guys, I want all of you to stand up. Okay, few of you are yawning. All of you stand up in your place. Stretch. Okay, stretch nicely. Okay, and then shake hands with your neighbor and say, good morning, have a nice day. You don't have a partner. Good morning, have a wonderful day. Right? And then when you feel you are awake enough, you sit. You can stand till that time. So again, we are going to talk about initialization of a project and also the planning for a project. Okay, we are talking about initialization of a project and planning for a project. Okay, so it is a management process. I'm going to talk about the way a project gets initialized. This time we are talking about the smart cities project. Okay, so this is the place where we are in the lecture. Okay, so again, remember CIOB has given the definition of project. This is not my definition. Stages of a project. These are established definitions of how a project works. Maybe when you go into the EPC companies, you will be in the 4th stage only. Okay, but the first 3 stages are very important for the success of a project. Moving on. Oh, sorry. I think this slide is in the wrong place. Okay. In 2015, smart cities were talked about. So there was a big competition. All the cities had to tell that they had a desire to become smart. They had to give a report. It was a big thing. Vellore, oh, we won the smart city bid. We are very happy. We are very proud. In fact, I was going through the smart city, whatever they wanted to do. Why I'm choosing this is, there is now in every place, many of you are living in smart cities or so-called smart cities. What was planned and what was achieved, are they matching your expectations? So this is what I want to put in. But this is a very good case study, I feel. Okay, so 100 smart cities and then 500 cities were going to get rejuvenated. Funding was told that it is made available, because without money, only because of lack of funds, probably the cities were not developing. So these are some of the things, and cities were identified in 5 rounds, and there was a time limit before which they should become smart. Okay, so I feel it was a very good initiative. Okay, money is made available, which was earlier not available. Okay, whatever criteria was kept, it was kept, and the cities were identified. Okay, so that is the initialization phase of a project. Somebody says something has to be done. Somebody is initiating a process. Somebody is initiating a process. Okay, now we have to study the feasibility. Okay, feasibility is where you do something and then it is sustainable. That means once you start a project, it should not become dead. Okay, it should serve the purpose. Will it serve the purpose is the question what we are trying to do. If you are going to start a business, you are going to say, I'm going to spend a few crores of money, and you want to get that money with huge interest, right? I'm investing 100 rupees. How much do you think I want to get back as my capital, as a return on my investment? Any guess? If I get only 2 rupees, 3 rupees, I will put it in savings bank. That is the interest I'll get in a year. Suppose I put it in stock market, I get something little more. So if I want to have a profitable business, I should get more money than what the stock market will give me. Otherwise, I may as well put my money in stock exchange. So this is the question I'm putting in front of all of you. Okay, the parents have invested money. They may not expect the money back, but they are expecting something, right? In the same way, when you invest something, you have to have an expectation. Based on that, check the feasibility. Moving on, they had some cities called as the lighthouse cities. They did the feasibility study based on the reports they gave. And what if the idea was good, they did it. SWOT analysis is strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. Excellent. SWOT is strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. Everything you have to do a SWOT analysis. For example, what are the opportunities? Because of your BTech degree, a lot of jobs are possible. What is the threat? So many people are competing for few jobs. Machines are replacing the knowledge which you have, or your knowledge could be replaced by machines. So what you have to do, now you have identified a threat, you should see how you have to look at the opportunities to make it into your strength. If you know you're weak in something, you have to make sure that you address your weakness or try to see how your weakness becomes your strength. So SWOT analysis and other things were done. And then there was citizen engagement also. Okay. So they produced a report which tried to convince whoever reads this project is feasible. If we do this project, there is going to be return. There's going to be a improvement in the life of people, or some merit is going to be there. So that was highlighted. Okay. Now this is a very important thing. There's a cost, physical money which you have to give, and a value which you get. So for example, suppose you look at the shuttle cab. What is the cost of using the shuttle cab? 10 rupees or 15? 15 rupees. So suppose an auto driver is taking you for 10 rupees within the campus. Shuttle cab is 15. What is the benefit? AC is there probably, right? So some value is there. Does it make it worth spending that extra money? So will a person use a particular facility if I provide? Suppose you look at metros. In Chennai, from central station to go to airport, typically the slowest was around 40 minutes. I have to go to the tracks, railway tracks, wait for a train. Train has to come exactly as you reach. You go to Trishulam and then you again go to airport. 40 minutes. You go by metro, it is around 25 minutes, I think. So again, give or take, wait time is there. So if you are taking a metro, you are avoiding a lot of hazard. But it is much costlier than electric train. Electric train, I think, is less than 10 rupees. Metro was 25 rupees. Will a person pay 25 rupees? Yes or no? Suppose you go and you are asking an auto driver, he is going to take 50 rupees minimum to take you from one side to another. Porters, I don't ask porters at all because it gives me a heart attack to see the price they quote. So now is 25 rupees costlier than 10 rupees. So this is what we are trying to say as value. Because you are giving a service, is value getting added. Every project, suppose I'm looking at the girls hostel, new girls hostel. What is happening? fancier things are available. Is it as cheap as the other hostels? Actually, no. It's quite costly. I don't remember the numbers, but value is there. Will somebody choose to stay in the hostel? That is the question we are trying to ask. So cost is there, value is other part. Okay. Then you try to, cost and value are actually diametrically opposite. Okay. So you try to see what is the sweet point. How much cost I should give, what should be the value added so that people are wanting the service I am proposing to offer them. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll probably stop now. We will continue on field data in our class on Friday. What are the things you'll collect from field? What is the knowledge you wish to gather? Right? What is the knowledge you have to gather? With what outlook you should see? Like I told you, a person who is a biologist, physicist or chemist looks at the same material differently. Diamond, a jeweler will see it differently. A person who's going to wear it is going to look at it differently. The person who's going to pay for it is going to look for it at it differently. So everybody looks at things differently. As a person who's going to projects, who's going to study the project, who's going to give a engineering decision about the project, what are the things you're likely to see, or what are the things you're expected to see is something which I'd like to speak in the next class. Meanwhile, do any of you have any questions, please?